Peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. On the news this evening, court extends order on Rivers PDP congresses amid multiple legal representation. Supporters of End Bad Governance protest in Port Harcourt warn of another round of protests. Justice Kudirat Kekere Ekun set to become second female Chief Justice. Aviation workers to protest over federal government's continued deduction from IGR. On the foreign scene, Ukraine troops advance deeper into Russia's Kursk region. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, the news in detail. News in detail. The Federal High Court Abuja has extended its order preventing the PDP and security agencies from stopping the congresses in Rivers State until the main case is heard and decided. Presiding Judge Peter Lifu adjourned the matter after 3 senior advocates announced their representation for the acting national chairman of the PDP, Umar Damagam, when the matter came out for hearing today, and asked the lawyers to resolve the issue. Last month, Justice Lifu had issued an order restraining the PDP, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and security agencies from stopping or disrupting the wards, local governments, and state congresses of the PDP slated for July 27, 2024. Earlier, in another ex parte application on the 16th of July, Justice Ubere Ambo of the Rivers State High Court in Port Harcourt restrained the party and 3 national executives from holding the planned congresses at any other location or date pending the determination of the motion or notice already filed. Also, on the 26th of July, a High Court in Port Harcourt, presided over by Justice Charles Wali, issued another order restraining the PDP from concluding its congresses at the ward level. Moving on, some supporters of the just concluded End Bad Governance protests in Port Harcourt have warned of another round of protests if the federal government fails to address the issues raised during the bad governance protests. The president of Niger Delta Congress, Sata Nubari, said this during an interview with correspondent Soibi Oruwari.
Yesterday, I bought fuel for 880. Somebody I know who is close to me bought for 990. The government might have succeeded in putting down the protest, but the truth is that the issues that spawned the protest have not been addressed. From what we are seeing, it's just a matter of time till another protest erupts. From 8 years to 4 years, it's only a matter of time when the next one. With the countdown to another one happening, it has already started a long time ago. So it's only a matter of when, not if, the next protest is going to erupt. And this time around, it might not be time. There might not be a time frame like 10 days.
Mr. Nubari asked the federal government to expect more demands of youths from the Niger Delta region.
We on our own, we have plans of our own to mobilize the Niger Delta because advancing our own political interests. Because, like we see through the protest, what we are pushing for is resource control and political autonomy, and we want this government to call a constitutional conference that we can sit down and restructure this country. Because the economic issues and political issues that we are protesting, all these things are symptoms, and the main problem with this country is constitution. Once every region, every state take up their own economic issues and political issues based on their own capability, a lot of these issues are not going to be springing up.
The Program and Communication Director of Social Action, Peter Mazi, also spoke.
You can see that the government is engaging in some policy shifts, whether it is planned, whether it's going to achieve any positive results. We are strategizing. If we see appreciable results in those key areas, especially in fuel prices, cost of food, and major services, then we'll go back again and re-evaluate our position. This is a coalition of civil society and the other concerned persons. In our discussion, we're going to evaluate the prices of goods, the inflation rate, headline inflation, food inflation.
Mr. Mazi encouraged Nigerians not to relent in demanding accountability from the government.
For the people, I want them to understand, government does not have any business other than making life better for us. That is our business. They need to show us their scorecards. It's a right to demand stewardship from them. So we should not shy away from that. That's the one. Then to the federal government, why the pointer was so much on the federal government is because of two key policies that the federal government implemented as they came. One was the abolition of petroleum subsidy, and then two is the floating of naira. And these two key policies was what cost us what we're doing today.
Governor Siminalayi Fubara says since assumption of office, he has spent a large amount of resources to improve schools in the state. Governor Fubara said this when the House of Representatives Standing Committee on Tertiary Education Trust Fund visited him today. The governor assured that his administration will spend more resources to uplift the standard of education in the state.
As a government, our focus is to better the life of our people, to improve on what we have come to inherit. Sure that we have dedicated a large chunk of our resources to improve our schools. I believe that when we live here and following the help that you are willing to render by relaxing those very strenuous and stringent conditions, we are going to assess them and ensure that we put them to good use in our schools in River State.
Governor Fubara also commended TED Fund for the support to the state-owned institutions.
Let me appreciate the wonderful work this technical subcommittee, TED Fund and other services are doing. I can say proudly that it has really contributed and helped in the development of our tertiary institutions. Not just you, but the initiators, which is the federal government, and the support that the National Assembly are giving to see that these funds are utilized for the good of our tertiary institution.
Earlier, the chairperson of the House Committee on TED Fund, Miriam Onoa, commended Governor Fubara for having managed the state, particularly during the End Bad Governance protest.
The giant strides you've taken so far in development of education and related infrastructure. May I also commend Your Excellency for the wisdom and competencies you've exhibited in managing the affairs of Rivers State government, especially your peace-building attributes. Also commend especially the youth of Rivers State for listening to the governor and maintaining peace and order, even in the exercise of their fundamental right, where Rivers citizens, women and youth conducted themselves in line with global best practices.
Youths of Edoa town in Auda East local government area of Rivers State have called for the suspension of their paramount ruler, Chief Clifford Ayi, for misconduct and desecration of the village oracle Ogbokidoa. The youths, in a peaceful demonstration to the Edoa Council of Chiefs, criticized Chief Ayi for allegedly granting Ezekpata Felix Otuarikpo access to the sacred house of the oracle, a restricted area for non-indigents. The chief priest of Okoshia, L.M. Chukwuwe, who spoke to journalists, said Chief Ayi and Eze Otuarikpo must atone for their actions or face the consequences.
Let us Otowarikpo cease from today to interrupt, let him go to his community if he needs peace, like any other Eze. Any day he comes here to operate, Eze Otowarikpo, which is the Eze pattern, the youth to maintain that he should cease in all obligations of this community. Let him go to his community, Ahab, and remain as Ezekwe, Ezeko, Ezigbahoda, Ezubie, remain in their various communities. We see his unfortunate Miham, who does not do us well. So shall it be.
The Edwards Crown Prince Ekomog Abel also announced the de-recognition of Chief Ayi as their ruler and the indefinite suspension of the village chief priest Emeji and other key custodians of the oracle for allowing the desecration by the monarchs.
At this juncture, the youth and the entire community have suspended the Ezengula indefinitely. Nothing like Ezengula operating in this community again. For taking law into his hands against the law of the community, they have been definitely suspended. The secretary of the entire community, Edoha, Samson Jerome, is acting as Ezengula. Let him come and settle the community.
In his response, the paramount ruler of Edward Town in Outer East Local Government Area of River State, Chief Clifford A., said the accusations against him are not true. We'll go for a quick commercial. But still to come, aviation workers to protest over federal government's continued deduction or continuous deduction from IGR. Do stay tuned.
Light up. The news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back now to the rest of the newscast. The caretaker committee chairman of Eche local government area, John Otamiri, has started another round of remedial works on the dilapidated Chokocho section of the Eche Okpala Road. The statement signed by the Deputy Press Secretary to the Council in Dimile Precious noted that Mr. Otamiri's administration is committed to using local government resources wisely for the benefit of Eche people. The Eche CTC chairman said he is not swayed by malicious criticism from desperate detractors seeking to undermine his progress. He urged the youth to shun violence and promote peace in the area. The Eche CTC chairman also announced the procurement of security vehicles for the 3 divisional police stations in Eche and an operational vehicle for the local security outfit SPAC and its chief security officer Daniel Onwalele. The vehicles will be officially presented next week at the second phase of his empowerment scheme. Away from that, the National Judicial Council has recommended Justice Kudirat Kekere Ekun as the next Chief Justice of Nigeria. In a statement today, the NJC Director of Information, Soji Oye, said the recommendation was made during a meeting presided over by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, who will formally retire from service next Thursday, having attained the mandatory retirement age of 70. In other news, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says efforts by a Chinese company, Zhongshan Fucheng Industrial Investment Co. Limited, to take over some jets on the presidential air fleet are fraudulent. The statement is in response to reports that a French court had ordered the seizure of 3 Nigerian presidential jets. In a statement, Mr. Onanuga said the federal government has no contractual obligation with the company, but that the case is between the company and the Ogun State government. In another development, aviation workers have threatened to stage a nationwide protest on 21st August in response to the federal government's continued deduction of 50% from the internally generated revenue of key aviation agencies. The unions announced this in a letter today. They said all efforts to convince the government that all the agencies and not profit-making organizations have failed. We will go for another commercial, and after that, the international scene. Do stay tuned.
Deliverance from And now, we bring you news from around the world.
President Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukrainian troops are advancing deeper into Russia's Kursk region as part of a surprise attack launched 9 days ago. A UK source confirmed to the BBC that British Challenger 2 tanks were used in Ukraine's attack on Russia. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry says it is adding more forces to protect people near the border. Now a recap, and on the news this evening you heard Federal High Court Abuja has extended its order on Rivers PDP congresses amid multiple legal representation. Justice Kudirat Kekere Ekun to become second female Chief Justice of Nigeria. Aviation workers threatened to protest over federal government's continued deduction from their IGR. On the foreign scene, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky said troops are advancing deeper into Russia's Kursk region. The news was edited by Nkechi Wonsu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 008-721-7215. I am Kalada Gorubatobo. Good evening to stay tuned.